Hi there folks, Scott here, and we finally have some news about Half-Life 3. Kind of. Sort of. Not really. You see, last week, Mark Laidlaw, who is a former writer for Valve and had worked on the Half-Life series of games, posted up a short story. Now at this point I have to stress that it was legally distinct from Half-Life, but essentially it was his vision for Half-Life 2 Episode 3, or Half-Life 3, whatever it was going to be. Now it's an interesting read, well worth checking out, but it does bring up an interesting question. Do we really need Half-Life 3? And the answer is kinda yes, but kinda no. As we know, Half-Life 2 Episode 2 ended on a huge cliffhanger. And do I want to know what happens next? Goddamn right I want to know what happens next. I've been waiting 10 years. One of the main and most consistent strengths of the Half-Life games have been the world building, the storytelling, the characters, and I want to see where that journey goes. But there's a problem, and it's pretty much sacrilege to say this, but fuck it, what you gonna do? Half-Life 2 as a game hasn't aged very well. Now don't get me wrong, scalping someone with a toilet using a gravity gun, always hilarious. Ravenholm is one of my favourite levels in any game whatsoever, but the core gameplay of Half-Life 2 is really dated. The gunplay can be described as competent at best, and the physics puzzles, while revolutionary back in the day, are now kind of fiddly and annoying, and they break the flow of the game. Like I said, I really want to know what happens next, but based on a recent replay of Half-Life 2, I'm not sure I want to play through the game to find out. The thing about Half-Life and Half-Life 2 is they were completely revolutionary for their time. They changed the way that people saw games and what they could be and what they could achieve. So for Half-Life 3 to be anything other than a complete revelation is going to be a crushing disappointment. It's essentially got to pull off the innovation hat-trick. That is, if it ever comes out or even exists. I mean, by this point it's comparable to Duke Nukem Forever, except without that deep, disturbing, malevolent hatred of women. But those are just my thoughts. Please leave yours in the comments below. As always, tell all your friends about this video, and I will see you next week.